convene. I'm going to bring to the forefront item number 16, and I'm going to ask Mr. Robert Hanna, our city manager, to present this item.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. We have a slide that we can pull up. Okay, thank you very much. So I want to start by saying this is a kind of a historic moment, Commissioner Statler. This is an opportunity where the county let out, and the city is partnering with the county on attracting an incredible opportunity for our community. So I want to say thank you to Taylor County for leading out on that. I also want to say thank you to the DCOA for their leadership in facilitating the discussions between the city and the county and with this company. We'll be able to provide more announcements on this on Tuesday after the county takes their formal action. But what we have before us today, Mayor and Council, is a Chapter 312 tax abatement. There are two terms, Term 1 and Term 2. The company is a Houston-based headquartered company. It's a technology company that creates software, technical solutions, and energy infrastructure. It's a renewable data center campus. It's going to be built in Abilene, Taylor County. They'll annex into the city of Abilene. It's 800 acres. It's a $2.4 billion capital investment over 20 years. They're going to create 57 jobs over that 20-year period. The average salary is $57,000. So this is not a project that's driving necessarily a tremendous amount of job growth, but $2.4 billion is 33% of the city of Abilene's tax base. These things don't come. This is the unicorn that comes once in a gabillion years. And we've had two of those lately here, Misty. So keep that up, please. So what does the city get for this? The city is going to receive a pilot, a payment in lieu of taxes. In exchange, we're going to give 100% tax abatement during the first 10-year term of the city's taxes and 100% tax abatement for the second 10-year term. The second 10-year term will not abate anything that was abated originally in the first 10-year term. So once the first 10-year tax term is abated, we'll be able to receive the tax revenues off of that first term. So that will be in addition to the pilot. So the city is going to receive a $485,000 payment annually for the first term and also for the second term, so $4.85 million. So it's a $9.7 million deal just on the pilot. And then there's, again, like I said, after the first term, there's actual property tax the city will receive as well. In addition to this, the DCOA is providing $2.5 million for water and wastewater improvements, but the annexation is also conditioned and required on that. One of the things that I'm especially grateful for with the county's participation is that they were agreeable to placing the annexation requirement in their own abatement language. And so we have 3 different agreements that are part of this. All of them are tracking language very consistently, and that is just I think a model we can all maybe look forward to for future projects as well. All in all, the total economic impact for this project is $993.4 million between the city and the county over 20 years. I'll just say these things don't come around very often. I was proud to be part of a team that helped negotiate this. It really was a county, DCOA, and city opportunity, and we worked hard together as a team to achieve it. Misty and Commissioner Statler, I don't know if y'all would like to say anything, but I certainly don't want to take up all the mic time. Mayor and Council, unless you have any questions, that concludes the presentation.
Commissioner Statler, you and the Commissioner's Court, thank you for your leadership. In reality, without the county's leadership, we're not here on this day. I think it's a good opportunity to display how teamwork really works, and I just can't thank the county enough for taking the lead and allowing us to be at this moment. Ms. Mayo, I've seen, like we've said this a number of times this year, I appreciate you for looking out for this community, providing an opportunity for providing dignity for more of our citizens in the city of Abilene and Taylor County. And as Robert has communicated, If you, Ms. Mayo or Commissioner Stadler, want to say anything, you can. Don't have to, but certainly the podium is an opportunity for you to say anything if you choose to.
Mayor and council members, and of course, City Manager and Commissioner Statler, and really to the community, I want to acknowledge you all as leaders. The Commissioners Court, led by Judge Bowles, has been tremendous to work with. You all have been tremendous to work with. And the original board that heard this opportunity, the DCOA's Board of Directors. Thanks to them for their leadership, and to all of you all for your foresight and understanding the Development Corporation's key role is to diversify our tax base. So when we can offer opportunities for citizens, Mayor, I love that you're focused on that. And how we do that is by attracting companies and attracting a diversification of companies. This technology, renewable energy, data center, not only the capital investment being monumental, but the fact that we can attract a technology-based company that is now going to open the door for us to continue to have conversations with future companies as well. So the opportunity's endless. The amount of tax base that will be able to contribute to Abilene Independent School District, the residual effects are things that the public, the general community will embrace as well, and will be felt for many years to come. So thank you all for that leadership. It's much appreciated.
Ms. Mayo, we know the Development Corporation of Abilene DCOA is in its 32nd year. Talk about in regards to the totality of CapEx investment, job creation in the last 2.5 years as compared to the previous 30 years.
So in the first 30 years, we had commitments for just over $800 million in capital investment. In the last 2 years, we've had about $270 million. You get the about because I have 2 contracts we're still pinning. So I always like to use that as a way to illustrate we're in the midst of those 2 that are about to be pinned. So in the last 2.5 years, that is $270 million in capital investment commitments. 30 years, just over $800 million. So this one project and $2.4 billion in commitments will exceed the last 32 years of efforts. So that's also to show the necessity for diversification of industries and what's happening in renewable energies right now, in the renewable energy industry as well as the technology industry, and what an opportunity that is for Abilene. Mayor, I appreciate you giving me that question because it also helps me recognize that I failed to recognize literally the most important people, and that's our staff team. The Development Corporation is staffed by professional economic developers who spend their days and evenings and weekends, and Robert's shaking his head because he knows, countless hours dedicated to our community, dedicated to the prospect of helping create our future Abilene. And today with me, I have Ashley and Julie, John
Why don't your team
Cox,
stay?
and,
Let's
yes,
recognize you.
Amy Whitmer, and we have Brock New, we have Rick Jones, and Reggie McCabe Gossett and Akane Thaxton are also on the Development Corporation team. They do an outstanding job, and I'm honored and privileged to get to be their leader.
And they have a pretty good leader.
Oh, thanks, Mayor.
So it's a good time to be in Abilene, Texas, and Taylor County. Again, Commissioner Stadler, thank you for your leadership and the county's leadership and foresight providing such a great opportunity for our community. Council, have any questions prior to the public hearing?
I'll have a comment. Mr. Hanna, if you or Misty, whichever one of you wants to speak about it, one of the things that I think is really important in this agreement is from the construction perspective of the project, that anything that is over $75,000 has to be sourced locally, is that correct?
As long as there's a local source for it, yes, sir. One of the terms that we put into the agreement we're able to negotiate was this, and this is a fairly common term, is local sourcing of procurement activities. So anything over $75,000, you want to make sure we're able to take advantage of sales tax receipts off that as well. And so the company's committed to do that.
Danny?
Any other comments from the council prior to the public hearing? And I believe, Mr. Hanna, Missy, that this current parcel of land creates around $16,000 of revenue annually.
Yes, sir.
So quite a significant increase, from that said property. So,
The cows will miss their pasture, but it's a good use, yes, sir.
all right. At this time, I will open up the public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to speak either for or against this item? If so, please give your name for the record. Do we have a card, Councilman?
David Swart.
We'll invite David Swartz first, and then we'll have others that will follow him. It will be a 3-minute limit on today.
Good morning, Council. David Swart for the record. I was looking this agenda over, and this last line here is quite concerning. It said estimated improvements cost, and I triple checked that. $500 million? $500 million. So does that mean the good citizens of Abilene or even Taylor County are going to foot that? Or is that going to be something that the developer is going to foot that? Just to put a context on $500 million, remember back in 2016, Foudreau did the street study. They said at that time it was $377 million, which is less than $500 million to fix every street. So I'm very concerned about this. That says estimating improvements, and I triple checked. That's $500 million. That's a lot of it's 2 commas and 9 zeros. So I'm very concerned if the taxpayers are going to have to foot this, or the citizens are going to foot this because it's going to be annexed in. I know the DCOA, they say they're doing good work, but 20 years is quite a bit. It may be for some of the high school people or that are fixing to start school system may have an opportunity at this place, but 20 years is a long time commitment for the average person that's seeking some type of employment opportunities now. But that was my main concern here. Is it says here estimated improvement cost. That is a lot of money. Another example is in 1984, when Reagan approved the defense budget, the average cost of a B-1 aircraft was about $283 million. So we're spending more than the 1980s dollars for this improvement of a one B-1 aircraft. We were talking about the Barksdale trophy earlier. That's my main concern. Everybody out here in TV land is watching this. We need to find out if this is coming from the Taylor County citizens and the citizens of Abilene about this improvements. Thank you very much this morning for that.
Mr. Swart, I think you're confusing the issue. That's a $500 million. That's a $500 million private investment requirement in order to receive the tax abatement. So there's the only public funds that are being invested in this project are the $2.5 million for water and wastewater improvements by the DCOA. All the other funds associated with this are money that is being paid for by this private company. So there's no $500 million in public investment associated with this project.
So it's the investor then?
That's correct, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you, City Manager, for clarifying that.
It's a good question. Thank you for the question.
We're still in the public hearing. Is anyone else like to speak for or against this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing. Does council have any additional comments and or questions in regards to this item? If not, I accept a motion and a second.
So moved.
We have a motion by Councilmember Hurt.
Second.
A second by Councilmember Price. And for a discussion, we're ready to vote.
Councilmember Hurt?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem McAllister?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Pro Tem Craver is absent. Councilmember Price?
Yes.
Councilmember Beard?
Yes.
Councilmember Albus?
Yes.
And Mayor Williams.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Well, after you approved $2.4 billion in development, I think that may be a good opportunity to take an exit, and I'm going to, and I'm going to do so. But before I do, I want to wish you, this community, a very Merry Christmas. I hope you enjoy your family and loved ones during this time, and also put in the forefront the reason for this season. I'd be remiss if I didn't comment on the